What's good, y'all? It's your boy Exo Blick, man. Yo, today we're reacting to news about Tory Lanez stabbed in jail, man. This shit hit different because Tory Lanez is my twin. I'm not gonna say too much, but if once I get my hair faded the right way, my beard up, this should be like, are you? I thought you was Tory Lanez, but anyway, right? Yeah, he was attacked in a LA prison. If y'all don't know, LA prisons is run different. It's very race oriented. Whites stay with whites, blacks with blacks, Mexicans with Mexicans. And it was reported that Tory Lanez was on a Mexican dominated tier when he was stabbed by a Mexican inmate. And through this phone conversation provided by 1090 Jake, Spider Loke talking to another inmate explaining the situation, yeah, we find out it was just really a race riot thing going on. And I think we also hear that the blacks they trying to get back to Tory, man. Cause what the fuck was that, man? Why would you personally? I don't understand the jail politics or prison politics. I never will, because I'm never going to prison there. Wallahi. But why would you attack a singer, man? Especially if he's not a gangbanger. Isn't there protocols on that? Like, I don't know, man. But let's listen to this.
Compton rapper Spider Loke would post a conversation with a current inmate at Tehachapi. The man would claim Tory was on a tier full of Mexicans when a Mexican stabbed Tory. He'd confirmed Tory had to be airlifted from the prison and the prison was placed on lockdown. He'd also confirmed as soon as the lockdown is lifted, the blacks will be seeking revenge on the Mexicans.
What's Gucci?
What's cracking?
What it do, Fod?
Shit, nothing much to look, right? This morning, brother, the Mexican out and bust on the boy Tory. You know, they airlifted him and all that, so no, that's gonna respond when we come off this shit. We're gonna respond the right way to that.
They laid the yard down.
No, it happened in the building.
What was it over? It was over some. What he had did he have a debt, a gambling debt or something?
Nah, nothing like that. Shit, we don't even really know. We don't even know the whole situation, you know.
So it was just like some foul play. So it's gonna be up.
Yeah, it's for sure with some foul play.
Damn, cuz wasn't nobody right there with him when it happened. Wasn't nobody right there with him when it went down.
Yeah, I guess nobody wasn't. He was by himself out there. He got a whole tier full of necks. He on a whole tier full of necks.
Wow.
But you already know, once we get off this shit, we press some play on. We press play.
I'm already knowing. God damn.
Tehachapi has a known reputation for being SNY, otherwise known as a special needs yard. These yards are known to house gang dropouts, snitches, sex offenders, and anyone else whose life is threatened by being in general population. But California has also recently implemented 50-50 yards, half general population, half SNY, to integrate the two prison societies. This goes against strict prison gang politics, mainly for the Mexicans and whites who are allegedly forced to attack any rival or SNY inmate to essentially remove themselves from the yard until they are placed back in general population amongst the quote-unquote honorable convicts. While general population is deadly...
So that kind of gives you a little prelude. See, this is why I like, watching 1090 Jake. He be giving like, some like a little knowledge of the jail politics, because I was like, why did they attack him out of all people? He's not a gang banger. He's just a civilian. Like, I could see he's a civilian with money. That's why people thought it was some debt shit. Like, maybe he bought something and then he owed. But it's really because of that. It really could be that man was just on some... Cause this how I go in New York jail, like if you got a name, even if you a civilian, people want to like punch you, cut you, all of that, because like that's gonna get them rank and status in their gang and stuff. So most likely, this dude was on the yard and he wanted to get out that yard, and he's like, "Damn, who could I attack?" And he's like, "I don't attack no weak dude and look like a weak bull, but I want to go for easy pickings." So he probably is like, "Yeah, this dude's a famous singer. He probably..." I'm not gonna lie, some of the Mexicans, you know how, like, cause you know how it is in there, it's just race to race. Probably was like, oh, he's some famous black singer. Oh yeah, I'm definitely getting him. That's crazy, man. Now here, 1090 Jake, he about to tell us a little bit about the dude who stabbed him and stuff. I didn't want to bite too much of his whole video.
Now, Tory's attacker would be identified as 42-year-old Santino Casio, a man with a dark violent history. On June 8th, 2022, a then 20-year-old Santino, who went by the name Sonny, was heard arguing with his 13-year-old girlfriend. Minutes later, she was shot in the face with a shotgun. Santino would go on the run for 2 weeks before being arrested. His own family would testify against him in court, how they heard the argument before the blast. A coroner would testify the barrel must have been 4 inches away from the girl's face before it went off. An interview from the day he was arrested would be played at trial where Santino admitted to having a relationship with the 13-year-old girl for a month before the shooting. The girl was a runaway, while Santino was on parole from the California Youth Authority for burglary. In 2004, Santino would be sentenced to life in prison for murdering 13-year-old Evelyn Candejas and 2 other attempted murders from 2 separate stabbings. While in prison, he'd be sentenced to an additional 6 years for a prison stabbing on another inmate, and in 2018, he was sentenced to an additional 2 years for possessing a knife in prison. Santino Casio was as dangerous as they come, but his conviction for murdering a 13-year-old girl he'd been dating confirms he was definitely an SNY inmate, as he'd never be allowed to walk in general population without being stabbed or killed. Why he chose to attack Tory Lanez is unknown. Many question if Tory was targeted because of his own conviction for allegedly shooting his former friend Meg Thee Stallion. The fact that he had a female victim, many would assume would be reason enough for him to be hit. But Santino's case is far worse than Tory's could ever be portrayed, and offers no motive as to why this happened.
Yeah, that's weird. Damn. I don't know, man. This damn, bro. Pray for Tory, bro. That's crazy. You in jail. That's this is why, like, I really want to stay, like, stay away from the streets, bro. Anything and stay away from like crazy people who gonna lead you into situations where you could get locked up, because then you gonna be locked up in jail for a bunch of weirdos you don't even know. This dude over here dating underage kids, shooting them with a shotgun, catching cases every day and every other year, staying in jail. He don't care about life. Hold on, look at his face, bro. Where's his face at? This nigga don't care about life. My son Tory locked, and then it's niggas that look worse than this nigga. My son Tory locked up with a bunch of savages every day in the LA yard. That shit gotta be that shit gotta be scary, son. Pray for Tory, son. That shit crazy. I hope with this situation, this will like kind of make the jails be like, yo, we gotta like lower his release date, because he's obviously a target. If he's getting attacked by day room niggas like this for no reason, he's obviously a target. He's not in no gang, no nothing. That's crazy, man. Free Tory, man. But yeah, this XO Blake, man. I'm gonna see y'all around, man.